Today's video will teach you how to land your first job while studying full-time. In case you don't know me, my name's Noah, and by the age of 18, I was able to land several dream jobs. I'm now nearly 20 and able to charge people £1,000 a day just to work for them. And now I'm on a mission to help young people get into the world of work and land their first jobs. Today, I'm going to be sharing the 3 hacks that I have used to help countless students land their dream first jobs. So let's get into the video. First, you've got to learn how to craft the perfect CV as a student. Now, a lot of students think that they can't make a CV because you have to have work experience, and let's be honest, most students haven't really worked a job before or don't have a lot of work experience. But the thing is with the CV, you just don't need to overcomplicate it. In case you don't know what a CV is, it's basically a document that explains all of your past work experience, your grades, your hobbies, your interests, your skills, everything very simply onto one A4 sheet of paper. Now, if you're young, please just keep it to one A4 sheet of paper. I see loads of people make CVs that go on for 2, 3 or 4 pages and they want to list every single thing, but you just don't need to do that and it doesn't look good. If you're young, you probably don't have a lot of work experience, so it's best to just keep things simple and easy to read. Sometimes employers are looking at hundreds of CVs at a time, so keeping yours simple will really make it stand out. Your CV should look something like this. This is one of the CVs we've got in my Discord where we've got all the tools to help you build your perfect CV. You want to start with a profile summary, then your education, then your employment history, then your achievements, volunteering, hobbies and interests, and any other skills. The keys with the CV, just keep it brief. Don't do long sentences, put it all down as bullet points. In fact, put what you've written into ChatGPT and get it to summarize it down for you. You don't need to make it long. It doesn't look impressive. The other day I was helping my mate Roman make his first ever CV, and what happened was really cool. He took this very simple 1-page CV into a pub, asked for the manager. The manager came out, had a look at the CV, and literally on the spot offered him a job. The next day he had his first shift and he was earning money. So if you write a good CV, if you know what you're doing, it's genuinely so easy to get a job. My top tip with writing a CV is get someone else to check over it. That could be someone in my Discord or even just your parent or a friend. Check for any spelling errors or things that you might have missed. And then also make sure you tailor your CV to the specific job that you're applying to. So if you know that you want to apply to a restaurant, but you also want to apply to a childcare service, you're going to need to make your CVs very different for each job. If you're applying for childcare, you're going to want to tailor it more to around experience that you have with looking after children, maybe doing some babysitting on the weekends. But if you're applying to work at a restaurant, you have to put stuff on your CV about customer interaction and maybe even working with food. But you might be thinking, Noah, I actually just don't have any experience that I could put on this CV. Well, let me tell you, that is not true. Just because you haven't worked a formal, regular paid job in the past, it doesn't mean that you don't have work experience that you could put on. If you've done anything at your school, like a project that you have had some responsibility in, you could put that as work experience. It's just unpaid. Or if you've volunteered anywhere, like a church or a children's club or an old people's home or a charity shop, you can put that on there because you've taken some level of responsibility. Think about things you might have done for your friends or family. Have you washed someone else's car or done some lawn care? Maybe it was just a one-off side hustle, a little gig that you do at the weekend. Maybe you've done eBay reselling in your spare time. All of these things give you skills and give you a level of responsibility that employers like to see. So it might not have been paid in the sense that it's like a regular job, but it's still work experience that you can put on. Again, we've got an awesome CV builder in my Discord that you're welcome to check out. My second hack is you've got to learn to find the right job for you that fits in with your schedule and your lifestyle and your interests, especially if you're a student, because time can be tight. There are going to be seasons you're going to need to be studying more. There are going to be times where you just want to grind and get your money up, maybe before you go to uni, or if you're leaving uni and getting your first apartment. So to find the right first job for you, firstly, look at what other jobs students have around you, because they are often good indicators that those could work for you as a student. For example, when I started college, I noticed that a lot of my mates started to work at Sainsbury's. And when I asked them why, it made a lot of sense. One of my mates was able to work very early online shifts where he would pick food that people had ordered online that would be delivered later in the day. He was able to earn like £10 an hour. And I think now Sainsbury's have actually increased their minimum wage to more like £12 an hour, which is really good as a student. Considering the minimum wage is a lot less than that, that's really good considering they started that salary. So just ask what other people are doing around you. I noticed when I was at school at college that a lot of my friends would work in server jobs like cafes or restaurants, because that sort of stuff is usually a 0-hour contract type of thing. Now, if you don't know what a 0-hour contract is, you're basically just given the hours available each month or week by the company, and then you can choose to take them or not, or get someone else to cover your shift. It's very flexible. So if you are looking for that first kind of job, consider a 0-hour contract. They can be bad because they don't always guarantee that you'll be given hours, but They're very flexible, and when things like study season comes in or exams, they can be really helpful because you can just say no to a lot of that work that comes in and just focus on your grades. But beyond that, think about the flexibility of your jobs. There are some jobs out there that you can literally do while studying, and if you don't believe me, one of my mates worked as a receptionist at his local gym, and he was able to pretty much just go on his laptop or do whatever work he wanted to do while he was behind the desk, and then whenever people came in or needed to sell something to someone, he'd do that. But most of the time, he was just doing his own thing and being paid to be there. One person in my community was able to make hundreds a week with a job that he was very easily able to fit in around college. He worked at a school at a breakfast club in the morning, and then he would go to college, do his college work, and then leave college in the afternoon, go back to that school to do the after school club. And he would make a good amount of money because childcare, if you know anything about childcare, their starting base rate pay is pretty good. I think he was making like £12 an hour, something like that. It was really awesome. Also, think about what you're interested in. If you do a job that follows your passion, follows your interests, generally you'll be a lot more motivated to get up and go and do it. It just makes it feel a lot easier. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you can't be too picky. It's always very easy to switch jobs. So maybe if you just get offered a job, you should take it, work there for a month or so. And then if you get a better offer somewhere else, or you apply somewhere else and get a really good job that fits better in with your schedule, then you can move. But my number one advice is just send out lots of applications. Most people don't send enough applications while they're in college. They just send an application to like 1 or 2 jobs, and that really doesn't cut it. You've got to be sending applications, I'd say like 10 at a time. Apply to as many places as you can. Even better if you can walk in, and then hopefully you'll really get there in landing a job. In my Discord, we do have a spreadsheet full of job ideas that you can do, so just try to pick one that matches your interests and your work schedule. And my third and final tip is just learn how to ace your interview. A lot of people overhype the interview in their heads. Generally, if you're young and it's your first job, the interview's really chill. It's more about getting to know your personality and seeing if you'd fit well within the team. And they're just analyzing you and seeing whether you're someone that's actually willing to work hard. You're a get up and go type of person. If they see that you're kind of laid back and you don't really care and you're acting a bit lazy, they're not going to hire you. But if you just give it a bit of effort, they'll more than likely think you're good enough. To ensure you've got the best chance of smashing the interview, firstly, dress smart. Don't go too smart. You don't need like a full suit, but show that you've made a slight effort. So maybe that's a nice shirt and a nice pair of trousers and some polished shoes. If you don't have that sort of clothes at home, you can go to a charity shop and pick that up for like a couple quid. It's not hard to dress smart. Before you go to the interview, make sure you really research that company. Look at their website, look at their social medias, look at what they're doing well, where they might not be doing so well, and see where you can offer value. Look at the holes in that company and see what you could fill. And I really encourage you, use the fact that you're young in your interview to your advantage, because young people actually have these unique opportunities that older applicants don't have. For example, you might be applying to work at your local cafe and see that their social media presence is completely dead. At your interview, you could say to them, I'd be more than willing to help get your social media going whilst working at the cafe. That's something that an older person really wouldn't have as much of a clue about, but because you're young, they might actually take you a lot more seriously. Also, the fact that you're young can actually mean you're more of a get up and go type of person. Often young people have a lot more energy and they're willing to work a lot harder than the older people. As well, there is also that advantage that younger people don't need to be paid as much. So essentially you are cheap labor, but when you get into a company and you can show that you can provide value, very quickly you'll probably be able to ask for a pay rise. Now, before your interview, it can be smart to prep a few interview questions. Literally go onto ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, what are some common interview questions for X type of job or this type of job? And it will spill out a load, and they're really helpful to practice with. They might ask you about a time where you've demonstrated some sort of quality like teamwork or problem solving. When you get asked those questions, make sure you reply with this kind of structure. Talk about a situation that you were in, the problem that you faced, how you overcame the problem, how well this worked, and what you learned from it. If you can do that when you respond to questions like, show me a time you did really good teamwork, it just makes you look really professional and like you know what you're doing in a job interview. If you get a question like that and go, I haven't really had a situation like that, they're not going to take you seriously. So you need to be ready. You see, landing a job really isn't as hard as you think. You just need to know the stuff that school really didn't teach you. And that's why I said on my Discord, it really goes into all of the details. But if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you check out the video on screen that YouTube is recommending you. It will help you go further into landing your first ever job.